We've had a couple of changes in the culture war this week. We've had a couple of wins. If you guys know, there have been quite a few statues taken down. If you remember, I think it was a couple of years ago, Silent Sam, Chapel Hill. Now we had a statue in London rolled into the water. I think Christopher Columbus, that statue taken down. Statues coming down left and right. I know New Orleans is already taking down all of their racist stuff. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening all over the country. And today I heard about Jerry Richardson. I'm not sure if you know who he is. Jerry Richardson, I believe, is the former owner of the Carolina Panthers. I don't follow sports in this city. I don't give a fuck about Charlotte, to be honest. I don't go uptown very rarely. I don't. But I've seen the statue of him with the Panthers and all that. And so I heard they were talking about taking out his statue. And I'm like, why? And now I've heard there's been sexual harassment claims put against him. And I guess he had groped women and talk about, how'd you get in those jeans this morning? Little snide comments. And he's evidently paid people off to not come forward. So it may be worse, it may not be. But what I'm saying is we've come from Christopher Columbus, which I totally support. We've come from taking down statues. There's a street uptown called Stonewall that they wrote Black Lives Matters on big letters, that was named after a Confederate general, I believe. Stonewall Jackson. So we are really watching a significant shift, a societal shift. I was hoping that this energy that you've used for the George Floyd remembrance, I was hoping that it would go somewhere good. It would continue. It wouldn't just get bogged down into property crime and violence, and fighting with the police. And, they're still protesting uptown. They went and tried to block off traffic. The police pushed them out of the way, and people were throwing stuff at the cars. This is becoming a nuisance, those people. I'll acknowledge that. I never took part in any protest myself. I have not. But when I heard about Jerry Richardson's statue got taken down, and he's not a Confederate general, he didn't own slaves, obviously. He's still alive today. First thing I said to myself is, they can't control this anymore. And they're looking around, and they're seeing signs. All the Confederate statues, all the symbols of colonialism and white supremacy being taken down left and right. They can't control this. Even if the protests stop tomorrow, even if there's no protest tonight, it just all stops. That liberationist energy is not going to just dissipate. It's not. We're in a new era, and they can't control this. Bill Barr talking about Antifa and all that shit, and they admit themselves there's no evidence of Antifa being involved in the violence in Washington, D.C. and other places. No evidence of that. None connecting that group. And we've had white supremacists talking about going to plant bombs and tear up stuff. Yeah, we had a bunch of that. I couldn't prove it. I remember when they had the gun rally in Richmond. They found there was some white supremacists that were planning on setting off some kind of firecrackers to make it sound like the shots going off to cause a massacre. Yeah, I ain't forgot that yet. They're using every chance they get to try to start a race war. That's what I fear. That's what I fear, is them trying to, twist things up, scare people, and cause a stampede. But the cops are doing that. When you have a bunch of people and you corner them with tear gas and you shoot down on top of them, you shoot at them from 3 angles. I'm surprised there wasn't a stampede. I'm surprised someone didn't die. That was reckless. That was a reckless act CMPD took. And there come a point, I was reading, this guy was talking about how we should have new directives. There come a point where you shouldn't have directives to tell you what common sense. I understand that they're frustrated. It's been, 14 days or something. I get it. But this is like me telling you to look both ways before you cross the street. It's just stuff that you should already know. They can't control this. I think they got some statues up in netting and stuff, so it can't get taken down. I mean, this is it. And honestly, to me, the fact they have to do that, that shows you that they know it's a matter of time till that statue gets taken. They just want to have it to where you lawfully make them do it. It's not a white man's country anymore in many areas. They know that. Yeah. I'm not a fan of rampant violence. I don't support it. I'm not a fan of rampant property damage and damaging businesses. I don't support it. I've said that from the beginning. I think it's wrong. I think it takes away from the message that we're trying to put out there. But it's crazy that everything Trump talked about, he lost. Guys, he lost. I mean, they're not able to control this. And so Trump turned around and did the damn martial law thing. That didn't work, did it? Didn't work. And the generals were all like, no, we're not going to do that. Keep us out of that. So, like I said, the powers that be are not in control. And now a lot of these departments are having tear gas taken away from them. I love it. I fucking love it. I mean, they're being weakened from all sides, and it's all their fault. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. I talked about Biden and what are we going to get from him, but forget about that. The police are providing for us all the progress we need, because every time a policeman, I watched a policeman beat a photographer in Washington. I watched him do it. I watched police officers shoot at press from point blank range with pepper ball launchers. And the people were saying, we're press, and the cops said, we don't care. And they had the right to be there after the curfew. That was already known. That was already agreed on. I mean, there'd been over 400 cases of police assaulting press. I love it. Because now, doesn't matter who the president is, America has no business telling anybody what democracy is, because America is no longer any kind of moral authority. I love it. They've lost that now. They lost. They don't even care. I love it. When you go to war, no one's going to follow you. And when you try to beat somebody over the head with a ruler, no one's going to listen. That's what you've done, white man. That's what you've created. You've shown the whole world. You are a banana republic. You are a repressive state. You are a state that relies upon oppressive means to maintain law and order. And you are a state where many people are not happy. They're not happy with what you're doing. You can't bullshit that. The whole world sees this stuff. And the whole world's watching. So they can't control this thing. I'm ready for the protests to slow down or to end. And I heard they are getting more peaceful. I'm ready for them to end. But I recognize a lot of people out of work, man. A lot of folks are out of work. A lot of folks are frustrated. You know, it's a lot more. This is not just people who are protesting who have something to go home to. I always tell people that I think if a man has an opportunity and has a future, he's less likely to do stupid things to get him in trouble. But when a man feels like he has no future and he feels like he's living in a system that is not legitimate, that's when you get problems. He's got to feel as though he has something to lose. I just think for a lot of people right now, they don't. What, 40, 50 million out of work? I just feel as though, honestly, we're in a really dangerous time, folks. We're in a really dangerous time, and I'm just not sure about what we can do to mitigate the things that we're facing. But I can tell you they're not in control of this. That's why they took Jerry Richardson's statue down. Because they know if they didn't, someone else coming for it. See, even some of these statues that come down might not even be people who were really racist. But there's a wave going on right now. There's a wave. And they can't stop it. They're trying to, but they can't. Like I said the other night, we're in the world the people in the 90s talked about. Like, we're actually dealing with anti-racism now. This is not new. People were talking about this when I was a kid. But we're actually seeing traction. Like, the wheels are actually digging in now. We're actually getting somewhere. We're not just getting ourselves in a hole and people are sitting there laughing. People are like, yeah, I get it. The system is unfair. You know, this is a system that is treating people in an indecent fashion. But the main thing is, we got the crackers on the run. And they don't know what to do next. Like I said, Trump tried the military. That didn't work out, did it? I never thought I would. When Trump first got in office, people called it a general's cabinet, which was true. And a lot of people felt like Trump would just put in military people all over to control. And they would follow him. I never thought I would say this, that the military in America has become somewhat of the moral authority. I never thought I'd say that. In a million years. It seems like that's what's happened. In America, the military is the moral authority now. I mean, someone needs to be. I mean, they're the people who are saying, no, we're not going to abuse the citizens. We're not going to use the military for this. Trump wanted to have military parades from the very beginning. And I mean, this is a neo-fascist. I missed something. NASCAR banned the Confederate flag. I mean, they've been talking about leaving it home for a while. You got a black NASCAR driver. I don't follow that guy. I don't Bubba something. But man, the world is changing. And we're actually moving in a direction that we're actually going somewhere now. These are amazing times we live in, you know, and it's amazing because we've been going right wing for so long. You know, Extraordinary Rendition, the Patriot Act, all the stuff the NSA has done, everything that came out in WikiLeaks, where they got stuff they can record you through your TV and stuff like that. Weeping Angel, they've got, like I said, everything Snowden talked about. We've been going right wing for a very long time. The drone attacks, being able to kill American citizens, you know, all this stuff, and now we're talking about the Marine Corps and Navy. They've banned the Confederate flag. NASCAR's banned the Confederate flag. We're tearing down Confederate statues everywhere. I think the city of New Orleans already removed all their statues from the city. I'm excited. I am really excited about what the future may be. And I'm excited that we're using that energy for a positive purpose. It's not just using that energy to tear shit up and steal, which I don't support. I don't, you know, I know Michael Brooks and them don't want to really talk about it, but I don't support that. I don't think that fighting with the police, now I will acknowledge you have some aggressive police conduct, but some of what I've seen was completely unnecessary and was really counterproductive, if you want my opinion. What the police have done and what they continue to do helps our cause. No one's going to forget this. No one's going to forget watching police in Washington, D.C. shoot up people without giving any warning, and then they lie about the tear gas, lie about the warnings, just so Trump can walk across the street and do a photo op. No one will ever forget that. They went in the church, shot tear gas in the church, arrested the preachers, the ministers, just so he got a photo op. No one will forget that. Then they asked, he said, "Is that your Bible?" He said, "That's a Bible." I love it. He couldn't even lie. I would have said, "Yes, my Bible." He lies all the time, but he couldn't even tell you because he's not a Christian. Trump isn't a religious person. He pimps them. He pimps the Christians. That's what he does. And if you're a Christian, you're dumb enough to follow him, you're a dumbass. He uses you. He's been doing it from day one. He pimps the hell out you. Doesn't respect you. He never did. You damn about no God. Peace.